What's up, everybody? My name is Vince. Welcome to the channel. And in today's video, we got a special one for you. I got proposed a question. Vince, what is the best way to cut PVC pipe? And I started to run through my mind all of the different ways. And then once I gave somebody the answer, they hit me with another proposal. Well, could you cut it with this? Could you cut it with that? I started to think about it. Yeah. Then I thought to myself, would that really be most effective? Would that even be safe? Because sometimes, although you can, you have to ask yourself, should you? And we're gonna answer that question, should you, right after this message from our sponsor, VCG Construction. Want to help out with the channel? Link will be in the description below. Welcome back, everybody. And here's the reality of this whole conundrum we have laid out. Although there are scenarios where you might be able to get a very clean and square cut on your pipe, that same tool might not be applicable when you're doing alterations to plumbing that are existing, like in this wall here. A lot of homeowners and DIYers, one of the first projects that they set out to accomplish is to change the moldings in their house. So they'll put in new base molding or crown molding. One of those first purchases of tools is a miter saw. It's not the least expensive investment that they make as a homeowner or DIYer. You can definitely use your miter saw to cut PVC pipe. It is indeed going to give you probably one of the cleanest cuts, squarest cuts, very fast, very efficiently. But once you're inside this wall, you're not fitting a miter saw in that wall to make the cut. You're going to need something that's very maneuverable to get into these tight spots, but you're also going to want something that is going to deliver a clean cut that is square, because if you do not have a clean square cut, you're not going to be able to put your accessories, your attachments, your right angles, your Ys, your Ts, you're not going to be able to put pipe fittings on the end of your pipe. It's just not going to work. This is a specific PVC saw. And this saw is going to produce very rapid, clean cuts as long as you're using it the proper way. All we're going to do is we're going to find our measurement. We're going to mark out our pipe. This thing's been through some wars. It's not that sharp anymore. All right, it gave you somewhat of a clean cut, but because of the nature of it, you can see on the back end of that cut, or the bottom end of that cut, here we are right at 14 inches. We are literally a 16 off on the other side. Is that gonna make a huge difference in your rough-in or your alteration? Probably not. It's enticing because of its cheap price, but in my opinion, it's totally unnecessary. Let's just say we were going to need to make an alteration and we were going to need to make a nice clean cut in this pipe. We'd end up having to use this saw in this cramped spot. We could potentially get this done, but we're going to be banging into the opposite side of the wall. We could have a finished wall behind this pipe that is drywall. This is just not going to be fast and effective. Now, mind you, what is normally on opposite ends of a drain line or opposite sides, generally you're met with water lines as well. So imagine we're gonna have a hot and a cold running through this cavity as well, and you're trying to manage this large handsaw back and forth, and you might not have the room. You could potentially nick a PEX pipe. I just don't suggest using this inside the cavity of your wall. Over the years, I found I was enamored with. I saw plumbing pros using these on the job site, and they just look so rapid, and I was like, I need to have that. It makes sense to use it. I want to get it. It was a ratcheting PVC pipe cutter. The premise is that you would get lined up. Generally, I would use it on the ground, and you'd get lined up, you'd start your cut, and then you'd press all the way down, and then you'd get to the first ratcheting point. You'd press some more, get to the second ratcheting point, third, and you're finally through. Now, way, way better than the PVC saw. Cleaner. You can see the cut is way more accurate. What if you had to get inside this cavity? Are you going to have the swing to move these arms? Are you going to have the clearance behind the piece of pipe against the wall so that you can get the jaw behind here? Most likely the answer to those questions is no. It actually will fit in that direction if we come in this direction, okay? But you're talking about a scenario that is so infrequent for homeowners and DIYers, and even a lot of pros. These are just not necessary. Let's move into power tools. I'm pretty sure at this point, almost every homeowner and DIYer probably owns one of these. This is a reciprocating saw. It can be very precise and deliver a very high quality, square, clean cut. It's very square, very clean cut. Now, a lot of that has to do with the style of blade. You want to use a blade that's appropriately sized for the pipe that you're cutting. This is a 6-inch blade. We're cutting 2-inch pipe. With the blade shoe length here, we have plenty of blade to complete our cut on the opposite side, but not so much that the blade is swinging back and forth and swaying back and forth. So if we did have smaller pipe, we can move our shoe out to take up some of that blade length so that we have the appropriate size blade and the pipe resting against our shoe. I prefer, for cutting PVC, a finer tooth blade. This happens to be a 1014 TPI blade. How does it work inside the wall? This is where it gets a little sketchy. And once you start getting close to the obstacles around your PVC pipe, you could potentially damage the wall behind it. It can be done, but this would not be my top choice for the task. Remember, if you're cutting out for a fitting, you're probably going to need to make 2 cuts here. Okay, whew. Just to manipulate the tool because of how front heavy it is inside that cavity, it became a chore. Some of you will say, I do it all the time, and I'm sure, but we're making this video for homeowners and DIYers, and this might be their first time. You're gonna wanna do some practice runs manipulating the tool, because if we remove our piece of pipe here, you can see that we've nicked the back wall. You could have potentially poked through that wall, creating a drywall repair for yourself. Let's move on to one that was actually highlighted in Jimmy's recent video. If you wanted to see that video in its entirety, you can go over here, go and check that out. But this is a shear, a PVC shear. You could also cut PEX and other plumbing pipe with this, CPVC, LMNOP. It is an accessory that goes on maybe your existing impact driver or drill. All we need to do is line ourselves up. The best part is, for homeowners and DIYers, it has a sight line here at the front, sight line here at the back. There's a lot of great ways to line this up. And it shears it right off. Very clean cut. It's pretty doggone precise. Not the cheapest alternative, and it's probably something you already don't own. At 99 bucks, sometimes even 120 bucks for just the accessory, I don't think that it makes 100% sense for a homeowner and DIYer, unless maybe you're replumbing the entire house. Because of the pressure and the way the tool is inside the wall, we have a little bit of a deformity in the PVC. Be mindful that even if you're cutting vents that protrude up through the plate, they could potentially bridge the roof line. They could be going through the roof because your sewer gases could potentially be venting into your attic space. And on top of that, water could be coming through that boot. Let's move on to the one-handed recip saw. You have a free hand to help stabilize pipe, move stuff out of the way. Once again, all of the rules about the blade apply to the one-handed recip saw. You're going to want to use appropriately sized blades. Tremendous. Leaves a nice, clean, square cut. Much easier to make cuts inside of the wall cavity because there's less tool to manipulate. You're also able to stabilize the tool with your opposite hand. Okay, we're free. You still run the risk of hitting this back wall. We had much more control, which meant that we hit it much less. The next one is one that I, frankly, suggest you don't even try. A few years back, probably 10 years at this point, I never knew that a lot of exterior reno companies would use this exact combination to cut siding. PVC siding. This could be a possibility, but I just don't understand why when there's so many better options. But I'm gonna be honest, I haven't tried it yet. Not terrible. This, we have this little divot, so you can see it meets the arbor. So you have to manipulate the pipe, spin the pipe. How will it do in a confined space? it cuts through very rapidly, and it actually makes not a terrible cut. Kind of like when we're cutting PVC siding and plastic siding. Here's the problem. Because of the confined spaces, I just don't have the ability to manipulate the tool to make the full cut. I just don't think that for plumbing work, alterations inside for repair, this is the ideal tool. My favorite way to cut PVC, especially during renovations, inside walls. I get an oscillating multi-tool. I'll get something with finer teeth, something like wood with metal or a metal blade. Clean cut. We have a little nubble, a little nubule. We can easily clean it off. It's more maneuverable than a lot of the tools that you saw so far. With most of the other tools, you either have one or two fixed positions that you can cut from. The oscillating multi-tool is so infinitely variable. This blade can index either on the left, right side. You can come from straight ahead. You can come in on a 45-degree angle. It literally opens you up to be more maneuverable and helps you to avoid obstacles that could be in your way. The reality is that you don't want your plumbing job to turn into an electrical job or a drywall job. And if you like being able to cut your PVC in close quarters, then smash the like button. It's free for you to do, it doesn't cost you a dime, and you'll get 7 years of good luck. Let us know down in the comment section below, how do you cut your PVC? If you're doing it any other way, you're doing it wrong. All right, everybody, I hope to see you all on the next one.